Two police officers, Alex Carter and Emily Roberts, are suddenly dispatched on an urgent mission to Cedar Isle, an abandoned island. This island is home to the Hollowgate Asylum, a secretive government-run facility where horrific experiments are conducted on psychiatric patients. Over the past few years, countless patients have disappeared, and unfortunately, none of the missing have ever returned. Isla Dawson is the latest patient to vanish. Isla, who disappeared a few days ago, is believed to have gone missing in a manner similar to that of another patient who had previously vanished. The hospital authorities know that the missing patients are not just ordinary psychiatric patients. These patients are much more than that. The island is shrouded in a dark fog. The officers are told that no patient in the hospital is allowed to leave. In fact, both the island and the hospital are completely isolated from the outside world. The nearest point from the city is miles away. When they enter, the atmosphere of the hospital is suffocating and very strange. A sharp smell hangs in the air, a mix of something fresh and rotten. The security cameras keep a watchful eye on them, but the hospital staff avoids giving details about past disappearances. The former patients at the hospital tell them that Isla had seen something before she disappeared, but they can't make sense of it. They say, she didn't really come to kill anyone, but those eyes. They soon realize that everything in the hospital is strange. Abandoned-looking rooms, patients with missing eyes. But the most terrifying thing of all are the strange changes in reflections and the emptiness in the patient's eyes. Each room has a sense of tension. Each patient seems to feel like something is missing. One room houses cut-up photographs, misplaced old records. The origin of the missing patient's illness is also far from ordinary. When they look at Isla Dawson's file, there is nothing written about her. The file has a completely erased history. The possibility that the patients are affected by past experiments is growing stronger. As Alex and Emily deepen their investigation on the island, one night they hear a mysterious sound in the hospital. The same night Isla disappeared. It's a whisper directed at them, repeating one word over and over. "Lie down." Then the sound slowly fades away, but it lingers in their minds. When they are forced to spend a night in the hospital, strange occurrences begin. Doors open and close on their own, screams echo down the halls, but the patients claim to hear nothing. One night, as Alex walks down the corridor alone, he is followed by a patient. The patient's eyes are twisted, darkened, and stare at him with a demonic expression. The patient's head is almost turning completely around, and suddenly his eyes truly disappear. Alex cannot take his eyes off the patient for a moment, because what he is seeing is impossible to believe. The patient's eyes have turned into an empty void, filled with nothingness. Within those eyes, there is a deep emptiness, a growing darkness. It seems as if the mind has completely left the body, yet the body remains. Alex's heart starts pounding. With every step, the ground beneath him shakes, as if it's approaching him. In that moment, everything worsens. The old, cold, strange scent begins to fill the air again. Everything goes silent. A wind begins to slowly blow. The patient's movements, though mechanical, are far from human. Slowly, awkwardly, the patient moves his arms, head, and legs in strange ways. Suddenly, the patient's mouth opens. But it does not merely open. Screams begin to rise. However, these screams do not belong to a normal human being. The sounds are muffled, guttural, and distorted in a terrifyingly twisted way. The patient suddenly lifts his head up, and with this movement, like a demonic entity, creates a wave of dark fear within Alex. For a moment, everything falls silent, but that silence wraps around them both with an eerie strangeness, as if it were part of everything. Emily slowly and shakily pulls her eyes away from the patient, but what she sees turns into a vivid hallucination right before her eyes. That unseen fear begins to transform her mind, as if a dark entity is approaching her. Suddenly, the patient's head begins to spin around its axis, so fast, so incredibly fast that it produces an unnatural sound. Alex's mind cannot process this. Suddenly, the patient's body twists and crashes to the floor, and whispering sounds emerge from the ground. These whispers do not belong to them, not to any patient. The whispered words echo in their ears like a code. "You can't leave us. You must return." In an instant, the lights flicker. The darkness surrounding the corridor deepens. Emily and Alex begin to see images from the past. The missing patients appear one by one in front of them. The spirits look at them with empty eyes, and none of them are real. They are beings that have become slaves to a demonic entity, creatures that have exited reality. Every echo of Alex and Emily's steps seems to be a warning of a danger drawing closer. Shadows move in every corner, but none are distinct. They begin to question reality. Is this real? Alex asks, taking a deep breath. Emily's eyes grow wider, filled with increasing fear. At that moment, a deep ringing starts in Alex's head. Something is wrong. Everything is going awry. The walls of the hospital begin to slowly close in, and as Alex tries to rise, his feet feel as if they are stuck to the floor. It's as though he's vanishing. The patient's head slowly turns toward Alex. Their eyes, with an invisible power, infiltrate his mind. Alex wants to take one more step, but that step takes him to a different place, to the past, to a demonic world. The walls suddenly begin to disappear. Now the boundaries of reality vanish. Alex and Emily find themselves in a world they have never seen before. Everything changes. The walls, like an invisible nightmare, begin to approach them. In every corner of the hospital, there is a whisper, a ghost coming toward them. A storm appears in Emily's eyes. It feels as if her sanity will be shaken in these moments. "What's happening?" she says, choking. But in that moment, Alex's eyes begin to darken. He can no longer see. He can only feel the fear. There is a demonic force within the hospital, waiting to destroy them one by one. At that moment, Emily closes her eyes for a brief second and disappears. Only a voice remains. "You can't find me?" Never. Isla Dawson, when she disappeared, was not actually lost. She is the result of the horrific experiments conducted in the hospital. Isla became part of an experiment involving brain control on psychiatric patients, along with the previous patients. During these experiments on mental illness, Isla gained the power to manipulate the minds of the patients, pulling their minds into mental voids and turning their fears into reality. Alex and Emily realize that Isla has not disappeared. Isla has returned to the hospital, her body and mind completely changed. She is now a creature, a being that feeds off the minds of the patients. Isla begins hunting them one by one, using mental control and illusions to scare them. Each one tries to be the last survivor, losing the others to an invisible threat. At the end of the story, only one survives and the island is completely abandoned. In the final images, Isla's reflection now makes its presence felt in everyone's mind. There is a thin line between reality and dreams. The hospital is no longer there. It is now a place ruled by Isla. The island appeared completely abandoned. The lights were out and darkness had taken over everything. However, it felt as though some entity had still managed to survive on the island. With Isla's transformation into a creature that fed off the fears of the former patients, the thin line between reality and dreams had completely vanished. The fears Alex and Emily experienced had now become a reality. Isla, manipulating their minds, was watching their every move. One last time, Alex held the gun he shakily pulled out, as a silhouette appeared in the darkness, almost as if he had accepted his death. In that moment, Emily's eyes became vacant, as if merging with the void. Isla's laugh echoed in every corner. Fear felt like freedom, but in reality, everything seemed trapped inside a hallucination that had been thrown at them. For a moment, when Emily collapsed to the ground, Alex leaned toward her body. But it was no longer Emily. In her place, a massive dark entity grew, spreading and engulfing everything. It hadn't taken long for Isla to bring them down with their own manifested fears. Alex's eyes began to darken. A whisper, a sound, an echo. The very voice he had always heard, at the beginning of everything, in every corner, began to slowly invade their minds. "This is your home now. I've been waiting for you." When his eyes opened, he could feel Isla's presence. But it wasn't her body, it was her mind. As Alex tried to turn back, he discovered the truth. This island had become a place ruled by Isla. Everywhere he looked, on every wall of the hospital, there was a trace, a shadow left behind, marking her reign. With one last desperate attempt, Alex tries to escape. But the boundary between reality and illusion has now completely vanished. The images in his mind, dark figures, creatures with missing eyes, begin to come to life, one by one. Finally, when his eyes completely darken for a moment, he sees himself as a demonic entity. Although his mind feels like it has reached a resolution, that resolution is, in fact, a transition that leads to his end. Slowly, the crumbling walls of the island transform into a hole, once made from the minds of imprisoned psychiatric patients. Alex is now trapped in the island's snares. And after a while, just like Ela, he too becomes nothing but a reflection. In the darkened windows of the old hospital, Ela's reflection appears. In everyone's minds, in their eyes and their fears, she has become a presence that will never again disappear. Ela was not truly lost. She had always been there, and now the island belonged to her. This island, ruled by mental voids and fears, completely detached from reality, continues to be nothing but the very essence of a nightmare. If you like this story, don't forget to share it with your friends and subscribe for more content.